Here's an example of interpreting statistics using our 5-number summary, mean, standard deviation, and IQR. So here are some statistics from the spring 2021 section 4 AA track and field seasons so far prior to sections. So here we have the overall top 10 men's times. And here's our minimum, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, maximum. That's our 5-number summary. And then we have our mean, standard deviation. And you'll notice that I also found our IQR over here, which is just Q3 minus Q1. And same thing over here for women's times. I have minimum, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, that's our 5-number summary, our mean, standard deviation, and then again our IQR, which is our interquartile range. So first thing that you're going to do is create 2 box plots on the same number line using the 5-number summary. So this is to help you with your final project for this unit. Looking up at the top here, you'll notice that I already did that. And what's nice is I also included a bunch of numbers here on this number line. It's going up by 0.3 seconds, essentially 0.3 of a second. And I have, remember, this is my minimum, quartile 1, median, quartile 3, and our maximum. And so in this, our maximum is not our fastest, it's actually our slowest runner because of time. It's a little confusing. And then our minimum is actually our fastest runner. So someone who's the fastest went 22.14 seconds for the 200 meter. Same thing for the women, but this time what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw it out just to make sure that we understand. So the minimum, the fastest time was 24.79. So we'll first look, here's 24.8. 24.79 is probably just about there. So I'm going to put a point right here. Then our quartile 1 is 26.74. 26.74. Oh wow, that's way over here. And I'm trying to line them up. It's a little hard on the iPad while I'm trying to show you where it is at the same time. Medium 27.3. 27.3 is approximately right here. 27.67 is quartile 3. 27.67 is probably right about here. And then I have to go a little bit above for maximum, 27.86. 27.86, probably about here. So when you are connecting your box plot, my recommendation is to start with the first 2 data points. Come on. There we go. Start with your first 2 data points and your last 2 data points and connect them. From there, the next part's pretty easy. We're going to write some vertical lines here. And I'm just going to copy that to make this easier. Let's see if I can move that over just a little bit. Great. And then same thing here. Come on. There we go. And now it's pretty easy to just connect your box plot. So here we go. Just drawing some lines. Drawing some lines. And so this is the women's team over here. So same thing. We had our minimum, our fastest runner right here. Quartile 1 right here, median, quartile 3, and our maximum. Okay, so taking a look, you'll notice I actually drew my box a little bit bigger, and so I might want to consider shrinking it down just a little bit, but whatever. Just think that they're about the same. Like, this shouldn't be larger, they should be about the same size, but whatever, it's fine. Did the best I could. So the next part is to interpret things. And so I wrote a bunch of stuff down here in a really nice way, and I'm going to go through that. Before I do that, my recommendation is to go through and look at what kinds of things that you notice. So like the first big thing I noticed, the men's team is significantly faster than the women's team. Look at the difference. The minimum to maximum over here versus the minimum to maximum over here, significantly different. And you may want to comment on that. Another thing that you may notice is you'll see like this huge gap right here from minimum to quartile 1 is a lot bigger than this one here. And there's a reason for that. So think about, why does that actually matter? And I write about it in my summary. Another thing you may want to notice is I also included the mean here, 27.06 seconds versus the median. When you look at the mean and the median, you'll notice they're slightly a bit off. And the reason the mean is a little bit lower is because of this minimum here. This minimum is so far down, versus if you take a look at the mean and the median for over here, it seems like they're a little bit all closer together. It's only 1800ths away. And so your mean and median are actually pretty close. And I would say that the mean and median of the women's team is actually pretty close as well. But here's the big thing. Looking at the spread. So if we look at either the range, how far it is, or interquartile range, I know it's kind of hard to tell, but if you look at these numbers here, interquartile range, the women's team's times are more spread out. The standard deviation, you'll notice, like the men's, most of the data is going to be within 0.51 seconds of the mean. So the mean was 23 seconds. And so if you go above and below half a second, so it'd be like 23.5 and 22.5, most of the data is going to probably be contained around there. So you want to comment on those things when you see that. So here's what I said. In general, the men's teams are closer together than the women's times because the spread, standard deviation, IQR, are smaller. The men's times are also faster than the women's times, and this is because the maximum time for the men is 23.5, which is the slowest time, and the minimum for women is 24.79, so there's no overlap. Comparing centers, right, we're talking about center, we're talking mean and median, the two divisions are significantly different, which we already knew, but when looking at comparing the mean and median of the women's teams and the mean and median of the men's, they seem similar, although they are a few tenths apart, which is a significant time difference for the 200-meter sprint, which is true. So that's something to note. There is also a large gap from the women's fastest runner to the first quartile, as shown in the box plot. That's what I was talking about right here. This makes me think that there are a few very fast female runners compared to the rest of the group, which is shown again with a standard deviation of 0.91 seconds and an IQR of 0.93, which is large. So that is like a very, very excellent summary. What you really want to focus on is commenting on the center, which is mean and median. Comment on your spread, which is standard deviation and IQR. And anything else that looks interesting, put it back into context and why does it actually matter. So those are the 3 things that I would recommend that you focus on to make sure that your data analysis is complete.